And here we all are.
Rolling.
Yay!
Halloween. Happy harvest moon. Happy super moon. Happy hunter moon. Happy barley moon. It's so many things. Tonight we're going to be dissecting what all this means. We just lost Cyprian. So hopefully he'll be back. But anyway, here we are tonight celebrating a new day. Kasira, Aaron, I'm so thrilled you're here. What is new and exciting since we last saw each other?
Well, we're surviving. We're making it through all of these big, giant changes that we're going through. We're seeing them globally. We're feeling them personally. And we're hopefully going with the flow and letting this healing process take hold.
And
how about you, Richard? Oh,
it's I'm going through a really great time. And I'll give a shout out to her right now. I'm working with a career coach, Patrice McKinley, if she's watching, and she is making amazing changes in terms of the way that I'm looking at things. This is based on Bob Proctor's thinking into action, because there are certain habits that we do day after day after day. But she's truly helping me in terms of creating an amazing focus. And tomorrow, I am meeting through a Zoom meeting with my new director for my new show for the first time. And because we all know that this Taurus full moon, and I'm going to bring this card up again, is all about security, pleasure, and getting things done. So all of you out there who are watching tonight, pay attention. As my biology teacher, Miss Gerald, used to say, read, reread, and take notes. And but we're going to go over a lot tonight. So, Kasira, what's happening with you?
I'm right in the path of all the things that are going on with the planets and my chart, and it's all going according to plan. Some of it not as pleasant as I would like, but I know that I'm on track. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
And Cyprian?
For me, it's a lot of this amazing. Current events, but so Taurus full moon is also and help me flow easier the energy in order for me to implement or needed endings in order to.
Cyprian.
There he goes. He got kicked out. He's got a weak signal. Yeah.
So, Kasira, I want to start with you, and I've got some notes here, so I'm going to be reading from these tonight. And thank you for sending these to me, Kasira. This is also known as the barley, yellow, or leaf moon, and this year the harvest moon will be the last supermoon of 2023. Everyone, I don't know about where you are. Last night was actually the full moon, and if I'm not mistaken, Friday night was the lunar eclipse. So this is a super moon. And Kasira, if you can tell everyone a little bit about the super moon and about some of the lunar rituals that people should be doing around this type of year and this type of moon.
Well, the harvest moon in the old days, the harvest moon meant celebrating the hard work of the land people, harvesting what they planted, last spring, what grew over the summer. They've harvested it and now they're storing it, and they get to celebrate. That hard work is over until the spring. They are hoarding everything they can to. And farmers, people that live off the land, people that live off the grid, are gathering everything they're going to require when they hibernate for the winter, basically. And it's a time, a harvest moon is a time for us to celebrate all of the hard work or all of the efforts we put forth up until this point, to celebrate that and to kind of waller in it and like snuggle up and hunker down for the cold months that are coming. That's what the harvest moon is.
And don't you think, I mean, any of you can jump on this and, go with this, but, we go through this period of the harvest moon. We also go through this period with Thanksgiving and being thankful for the things that we have this time of year. And then we go through the holidays. And those of us who have a Christian type of a background in which Christmas, we know, comes from a pagan rituals with the Christmas tree and everything, with the gifts that we put on the tree, not only on the branches, but underneath the tree as well. And it's a time for us to, I think that this idea of gift giving probably stemmed from a time where people gave of what they had harvested from in the previous holiday seasons. And perhaps that's something that we can all get back in tune with or back in touch with, sharing our gifts, sharing the things that we have reaped this year. And it's also a good way of ending this year and looking forward to what the new year will bring all of us.
Right. Yeah. And this current lunar eclipse, which occurred yesterday, what time did it occur?
It was 1:24 hour my time, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4:24 for Richard in the and then
so it was 3 something my time. Yeah. This lunar eclipse is the second to the last lunar eclipse of this eclipse season. We've had a season of it. Yeah. The next one is November 7th, I believe. And we might want to do a little something on November 7th, around November 7th, about that particular eclipse. With every eclipse has us, sometimes our destiny and our fate flips over during the lunar eclipse. This one especially, the energies of it and the pull of it can flip negative to positive, positive to negative. But we can literally change. I don't believe in fate. I do believe in I do believe in changing our destiny, which I call changing our karma. This is a really good time for us to examine what destinies or what fates we might think we have that we'd like to completely turn that leaf over, just completely turn it over and have a whole different experience with it. Another interesting thing about an eclipse is that it has us be able to let go of everything that we've co-created that's occurred up until this very moment of an eclipse. So up until yesterday, we are actually able now to let go of everything we want to let go of. And in this one in particular, I feel that we're actually being called to purge, literally purge our lives, purging our lives of anything that displeases us in our life, purging our lives of negative people, negative situations, negative circumstances, ways of being and living that don't serve us, ending really unhealthy relationships, finding if we're unhappy in the work that we're doing or the career that we have or the job that we're doing, doing something new. This is a really, really great time to purge, and it's really the best time to purge, because before we start hibernating, it's really great for us to clear our space so that as we're hibernating, and when we're hibernating, we more often meditate, we're thinking more, we're not running around in the sun and wreaking havoc, on the beach and in the, we're able to be a little more alone, and we're also going to be closer to other people. It's really great. It's a really great time to purge our stuff so that when we're closer to people more often, 24 hours a day, we're not bringing our baggage into that through those relationships.
Right.
The other interesting thing that's also still occurring is we are in the 10th year of 13 years of Neptune retrograde. The interesting, and I've seen over time that as we get further and further and further along in this timeline, the lines between the unconscious and the conscious become blurry. They become even blurrier, where you can't often tell the difference. I've been experiencing that for a little while now, and Aaron knows about that. We talk about it all the time. There was a time recently, I don't know how recently, but I just said, "Hey, Aaron, I don't know what I'm doing right now. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what my direction is right now." And it turns out that that's what it is. And I read a really great analogy of the Neptune retrograde with seeing the conscious, but not seeing the unconscious until now. And that is that you can liken, okay, so it's like the two things are like an iceberg. So the conscious part of the iceberg is the top of it that we see above the water.
Right.
The unconscious is far more vast, and it's way down deep in the ocean. So right now, if we put our eyes in the center of the water line where we can see the top and the bottom, we'll see that iceberg tip is still there, but the bottom is way deeper. And we're able to really, right now, and especially for the next 3 years, tune into our unconscious mind, things that we may be avoiding, things that we may be stuffing away or hiding in our unconscious mind. Things that we, are pulling from in our unconscious mind that may not be great decisions, great directions, and really see them for what they are so that we can then do something about it if we so choose. So 3 more years of Neptune retrograde. This lunar eclipse is really about, a very strong possibility of changing destiny. And also a big purging cycle. Yeah.
Well, it's very interesting. In my work this week with Patrice, one of the things that's come up is the conscious mind and the subconscious mind.
Wow.
And Bob talks about if I say to any of you, please describe your front door. You'll be able to describe your front door in every detail, the make of the door, the color of the door, the size of the door, all of those things. If I said the same thing about your car, you can do the same thing. But if I say describe your mind, that becomes something that's out there that we have difficult doing. So one of the exercises was to create a stick figure, and the head is a circle with a line through it. And the top is the conscious, and the bottom is the subconscious mind. And once we have this image in our heads of what our subconscious minds look like, it'll be a lot easier for us to take this energy that's within us and put it out into the world, manifest those things that are important for us to manifest.
Right. That's very interesting. Now, I've been on a binge of Dolores Cannon's work, Convoluted Universe. And, she's for those who don't know who she is, she's the very well-known hypnotherapist who started working back in the 60s and started discovering that when she was taking people under, and when she would take people under extremely deeply, which most hypnotherapists won't do, but she decided to start doing this and started interacting with this aspect that called itself, or that they agreed on it to call itself, the subconscious. And the subconscious would talk directly to her. In some cases, it would talk through the subject to whatever the question was, and it would bring in this vast, gigantic, like you're talking about the iceberg, this information that, nowadays it's available to us, but back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, it would be considered just ridiculous, and the one that I was listening to just a few minutes ago reminded us that in that subconscious, we're going to call it subconscious, in that place, all information resides there. And I think Cyprian can talk to this. And they call it the Akashic records, or in some traditions. But it's the place, the giant storehouse where everything is, and even that idea of past, present, and future events, because it's all one thing in the subconscious realm. Now, the interesting thing is that humans in our human form, we love humans because we're here to love humans, but we are taught to, keep that separate from ourselves, kind of keep just this little narrow focus, and, keep your eye on the ball, basically. However, there's a lot of events going on as that ball is bouncing, say, down a court or wherever it's going. There are a lot of it. It's passing through space. It's passing through time. It might be interacting with a bird or a bug's flight or path. There's all this other stuff going on that we choose not to make ourselves aware of. And sometimes when we attempt to move out of that awareness, we run into these borders. We find that the place that we've given ourselves to grow through the experience has been very narrowed. And to become more aware of that subconscious, or that inner being, or whatever names we so choose to call it, we see that there's something really big. There's something really, and when it'll be interesting to hear your progress, Richard, because it really is one of the most important things. We can go through.
Two things that you just said that really jumped out at me. Number one is that we are here basically to love other humans and everything, and there's been a real disconnect with that lately. And maybe either you or Cyprian can talk about that, and why you perhaps think that's happening at this time in our lives and in our history. Not only here at home, it's happening on every level. That people are more attached to their iPhones and their computers and their devices than they are with what's going on around them. Recently, the president just said, after what happened on the 7th of October in Israel, that everybody needs to be more diligent now and pay attention to what's going on around you, instead of keeping your eyes on your phones all the time. Right. So perhaps either one of you can talk about that and why you think we're going through this at this time.
I would ask Cyprian.
I'm gonna hand that to Aaron.
Okay. The interesting thing about astrology is that as we, I still call myself a beginner. I'm looking at, because there's just so much to discover. It's a language into itself. It doesn't create itself, but it shows you the potential. It shows you where, what the tools are that are going to be available for you at the time. And it's our decision to either rise to the occasion, to use these tools in a beneficial way, or to, be destructive with it. It's the same energy, it's like, you have a knife. A knife is a very useful tool, but you can also put somebody's eye out with that thing, and we've heard our parents say that. So you're going to put your eye out with that thing, but they never taught us, I'm going to show you the correct way to dice an onion. Maybe they did, but the first thing that we hear is the warning. Warning, you have superpowers. Don't use those. Warning, you have access to the supercomputer system database called the subconscious. Warning, we're real Robins or whatever. And we can dig into the treasures through different tools like astrology. Now, the astrology does show that this is going to happen. That it shows that this is the time for this. It shows that we can't get to the next step until we master this step. And it's showing us what this step is. This step is, this eruptive, this energy of eruptive conflict. Now, we're not, we could erupt into laughter, we could erupt into love, but a lot of times, if there's something else brewing that needs to be purged, that will erupt. We're in this purgative period of Scorpio sun, and it's showing itself, and then the eclipses say, okay, time to flush the toilet. Let's get everything out that needs to go, so that we can clear it and bring in these new frequencies, these new energies. And it's saying it's going to be hard. It's going to be. I mean, sorry I gave the image of a toilet, but that's
no, you have an apt image. But it's very interesting. One of my guilty pleasures, I'm going to tell everyone, is I'm obsessed with the Waltons. I love this show.
Oh, I do too.
One of the episodes this week was called Ghost Story. And it was an episode that it was from the second season. It was directed by Ralph Waite, and it's very different from all the other episodes. And it had a supernatural quality to it. And they bring a Ouija board into the house, and the kids are all playing with this Ouija board, much to the consternation of the parents, because they think that that's something they should not. But it turns out that Olivia, the mother, had lost a friend many, many years ago, and there were all these signs that kept coming to her after the friend had moved on. And now she has a little son, and they're about to put this son on a train, and the mother's photograph disappears, and then the note that was attached to his jacket with his ticket on it disappears, and he misses the train, and the train derails. And And no sooner does that happen, does the picture end up on the mantelpiece again. They find the ticket, and all these things happen. But I thought it was very brave of them in a show that, it's dealing with reality. This was in the Depression, that particular show was done.
Well, that is brave. That's very interesting. Cyprian, you need to jump in, because we just talk and go and keep going.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to prepare an invitation. Speaking of human design.
Oh, you are invited. You are here.
You got it. Yeah.
It's like inviting the vampire in. Come on in.
Vampire, huh? Yes. I connect with the moon, so, what better time. But you're right, though. We need to be more, a lot of it are disconnections to the natural reality outside of the devices comes to the fact that we forget to connect with nature like the older days, because everything is advanced. Everything we rely on is based on technology and what's really man-made and what's backed by a lot of investments or money and by large groups. But then at the same time, the past 1 or 2 months, especially with Aaron and I, we've been connecting with extraterrestrial energy. We've been experiencing a lot of sightings. And they're sending a message to us that we need to just at least take some breaks away from technology, because once we do that, we tend to be more in a meditative state easier, because we all need to meditate more and meditate a lot, which is what you said, looking more within. And we have a world inside of us. And when we have a world inside of us, we need to change the world in there in order to manifest things outside. So it's not just one person, though. It's a number of people, and we form a connection, which is why it's called the collective whole. So we also need to connect with others on that level, not through other devices or things that are just really more inauthentic. Not saying that we should permanently get rid of them, communicating through and processing information through these devices. But when we do so, we have to do it with just the right intentions, because
I went to a reading. There's a new book out about it's the fall of Fox News, and how that has, so many people get their news from certain sources, and that's the only way that they get the news. But Alec Baldwin, it was a podcast that he was doing that I was invited to the podcast. And one of the things that he said that really jumped out at me was there was a time in our lives, most of us are old enough to remember this, when we all got the news at 6:30 at night when we watched either Walter Cronkite or another network. And then we lived our lives. Everybody was out living their lives, and everybody got their news at the same time the next night, and they got the same news source. And, or, you know, and in addition to that, everybody would get their morning newspaper and have their coffee with their newspaper and everything. And everybody got the same news. And now the news is so instantaneous that if something happens, all of a sudden, I mean, a good example, God bless him and may his soul be blessed, and that's Matthew Perry last night. Getting the news.
Heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking, but within seconds, celebrities around the world were tweeting and leaving comments and postings and everything. And there was a time where there was a natural evolution, if you will, before people got news and were able to process it. And it's coming at us so fast now that there's not even time for grieving. I mean, you look at what just happened also in Maine this past week. And the unfortunate thing is that in 24 hours, that news item becomes second page or third page news because of the next item that comes in and manipulates all of us in terms of the way that we're thinking. And I'm speaking in the collective us, in terms of the way that we're processing the news of the world now.
And also on just picking up on what you just dropped. A journalist said yesterday that the community in Maine was so relieved that the killer had been found, because they weren't even able to feel sad about the loss because they were in fear that he was still loose. That was which was it. I find that interesting that a journalist, people notice that, because a lot of times they don't, but it now after so many days they can finally start the grieving process and be sad instead of frightened.
And of course that's collective trauma that we have to all wash through our system.
Collective consciousness.
And how do we deal? And this, so as soon as we start flushing out the collective trauma, then more of it comes in. But hopefully, here's the one thing that I heard that was very interesting in both of you saying this, is that it all happened so fast now. And it's immediate. It's almost immediate, and it's almost ubiquitous, and the whole thing is shifting. So I think this might. Now we won't know for another 10 years or so. When we look back on it, we might say, "Oh, we were just in training for telepathy. We were just in training for the next level of connection that we can access." Because Kasira and I know this. Richard, I think you're learning this too, and Cyprian, of course. That we can send thoughts to each other. We can send each other ideas. We can send each other, and we can hear them. And if we're willing to, we can respond to them and get a little telepathic communication going back and forth. Of course, for the mainstream, it's rather not heard of. However, it seems to be where we're going, and it seems like the technology could be a tool, if used wisely, to open up that idea in our consciousness. Because really the reason it isn't used is because of fear, that the collective fear of using it, the collective fear of, did I really, people like to use the term, "Oh my God, that's so weird. You're weird. odd bird. I'm just going to stay away from you. I don't want you in my head, you know. Get out of my head. But really the thing is we're, like Cyprian said, we have this internal world within us, you know, and Kasira said that iceberg that we're all connected to. And it really would benefit us all to promote that connection. Now, it takes some doing because, you know, we don't. There is a such thing called privacy that we honor and we cherish in this particular existence. So we want to make sure we honor that. And of course, right now we're with this moon on the card you flashed up. It said security. We want to feel secure that I can have a thought, have an idea, let something pass through my mind, which may be, you know, we still don't really know where thoughts originate. We think they're in our head, but really that's just the voice of it, the interpretation of the thought. But we'd like to be able to have the thought and then feel like, okay, I feel like nobody's peeking in on me right now, you know. Or if they are, they're not going to see my deepest, darkest secrets. And the other thing that's interesting about the eclipse is it's revealing the deepest, darkest. And it's given us an opportunity to either harvest it or to dispose of it. Because some of that deep, dark stuff that we have is useless. Some of it is brilliant. But we don't know what it is because we haven't looked at it. And that's this whole Neptune in retrograde, because Neptune represents illusion and delusion. So it's our dreams. We don't know what's real. We wake up from a slumber or, you know, just before you're falling asleep and you're starting to have those dreams. They call it the hypnagogic state. And if you can wake up in a split second and think, what just happened? Where was I? And, you know, before you really gain the idea of coming back to the physical body. But we're going to be able to see more of that where, like Cyprian said, if we connect to nature, if we connect to our divine self that's within us, it's always there. It's always there. It never leaves us. We don't have to call it in. We just have to say, oh, there you are, and open up to it. And I love the image, Kasira, that you did with I've seen photographs in magazines that are like award-winning photographs of showing the iceberg.
The half and half photo of the surface and then below the surface.
Yeah, love that. Absolutely.
You know, here's the thing. We have the opportunity to take control of what's going on with us and purge ourselves. Now, here's the deal. If we don't, as Aaron said, something's going to blow up. We might be backed into a corner to purge, or we just, I don't want to scare anybody, but you could, I experienced a kind of a traumatic thing last week with a couple of people. And because I didn't purge earlier, I didn't pay attention to the signs.
Well,
you know, I had some red flags. And what's that?
This is the card that I pulled. It's the full moon Taurus, and it says detoxify.
It's what?
Detoxify.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. So we either do it ourselves, or our higher consciousness within us is going to do it for us, and it may not be pleasant.
That's right.
Just saying. It reminds me of a story that I'm not going to go on too long, but I know somebody who had a friend, an older woman who had a house, and she was a hoarder. And she kept saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to clean it. It got worse and worse and worse and worse. And guess what? One day, something caught fire and that entire house burned down.
Wow.
And when my friend called me, she goes, oh, my gosh, guess what happened? She told me, I said, you don't have to say anything else. She didn't do it. So the universe did it for her. Now she doesn't have to clean anything because it's all gone. Right.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
It's a true story.
It's your delivery, Kasira.
I'm sorry. Well, you know, I should be a stand-up comic dog.
Yeah.
But Cyprian,
okay,
go ahead, Kasira. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, Cyprian, you want to you want to talk about the card you drew?
Oh yeah. I just pulled 3 cards. My intention was to pull it for each of you, but I guess we could combine it together and just talk about what comes up. But I'm using the Starseed Oracle deck, And this one was specifically for Richard. It's called Hiraeth, Hiraeth, and it says longing for home, homesick for the stars.
Oh,
right here.
Well,
And when it comes to yes, when it comes to this message, I'm getting that like it's about being in that comfort zone.
I'm not hearing him well, but on my end, he's breaking up. And if you want to reshare that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do that.
Did you hear what I said?
Correct. Okay. So for Richard, this is more so about.
I'm not, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm not hearing him well on my end. He's breaking up. So if you want to interpret what he said, tell me.
Okay.
Aaron, do that. Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's the go ahead, Cyprian. I'll repeat it back.
If you could finish that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, right. Longing for home, homesick for the stars, and this is more so about getting back to our authentic selves.
So
and
Kasira's gone now. That's what it was. I think she has another storm going through Texas.
No, it's so interesting that you say that, because everything that I'm working on right now, everything is about getting back to my roots as to what brought me to New York in the first place, and that's live performance. And I have a meeting tomorrow with my new director to start formulating what that show is going to feel like and look like.
Wow.
We're having we're having technological issues. Aaron's had them. I've had them. Things are squirrely with the planets, and I can't believe my thing just. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
It blinked out. So it was the longing for the stars, a desire to go back home and Richard said that he's going. His home is the reason he moved to New York is for live performance, and that's really his home, and that's it. So it aligns perfectly with him there. Really interesting. So it sounds like you're supported, by your activity and also by the frequency that you're putting out that's reflecting back to you. Very interesting.
Yes. Thank you for that.
I moved back to Dallas in the spring. Yet my parents live in suburbs. I am working on moving to the town that they live in, the city they live in outside of Dallas, to be closer to them and the rest of my family. That's interesting that he said that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it's pertinent for all of us. And in fact, the idea of the Taurus moon, to me, that sounds like home. Whenever I hear about Taurus, it just feels like home to me. I have a card that I drew from my Wisdom of the Oracle deck. It surprised me. Sometimes these cards just fall out of the deck. I'm like, okay, there it is. That's the one. I'm not choosing it.
Yeah.
But this is it says milk and honey. There's a nice rainbow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
And this is
as an Aquarian, the rainbow is our symbol. And Milk and Honey, Kasira, you know this, was Jerry Herman's first musical on Broadway.
Wow. Yes. Oh my God, I'm getting chills. Wow. So Milk and Honey, it basically the taste of prosperity, opportunities born of authenticity. And see, that's the other part too, is that both the Scorpio and the Taurus require us to, there's a lot of other points in the chart that say, come on, who are you? What do you want? Come on. You know who it is. You know why you're here. It's that voice. It's the obvious. And it's sometimes a thing that we want to delude ourselves. Oh, no, I can't do that. No, come on. So with the expression of authenticity, we get all this milk and honey. We know what that means. It's abundance. It's trusting that your needs are met through all times, not just the abundant times, which sometimes we forget to do our work during times of abundance, times of joy. That's a time we can really, really connect with our inner self. Hey, guys, I'm feeling really excited, really joyful. Hold on. Let me just do a quick meditation. We never hear that, do we? No, but we do hear, oh, so-and-so's sick. Let's pray for so-and-so. Okay, so We've kind of put
Mhm.
a negative spin on what prayer and meditation and sending good energy and all that is, instead of saying, I'm in a joyful moment. Does anybody want to go out and like hug a tree with me and like connect back into nature with this joyful energy? Because if we do that, the universe says, oh, you like that. Okay, we're going to give you more of that.
But Aaron, I mean, you just bring out something else that I'm thinking of. That again, what's the phrase that we hear every time there's another shooting?
Yeah.
You know, we offer our thoughts and prayers,
Right.
and for a lot of people, that's become such a turnoff.
Yeah.
People, that action is not being done to go with that. So it's very interesting that the connotation that goes with it nowadays is also of a negative, and it's a negative because of what has been created around that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yes, and the new thing is prayers are not enough. Action is what's required.
Right.
That's the new mantra.
Yeah.
You know, so but you know, prayers and action. Prayers and action.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
in
faith.
the good times
Prayers
and the bad.
action and faith. Like the three things taught in Nichiren Buddhism, which I practiced for 35 years, is practice, action, practice, and faith.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is prayers. Prayers,
Yep.
faith, and action. We
Yep.
pray, we meditate, we take action, and we have faith that it works.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Very good. We got to say hi to our chat here. We have Alan and Natasha just came in. Welcome. And to anybody else who's catching this after the fact, welcome. Hopefully it's useful information for you. We're just kind of tuning in every opportunity we get, and we do it on the full moon cycles. So welcome.
Let's talk. Can we talk about the planets that are conjuncting each other right now?
Yeah.
Aaron, you and Cyprian can take the lead on that.
Yeah, Cyprian, do you have we just lost him. Okay.
I guess not.
Hey, we're all having well, you guys keep blinking in and out too, just so you know.
Yeah.
So just saying.
So we have, of course, the sun is in Scorpio, and I'm talking about the event of the eclipse, the full moon. The sun is in Scorpio at 5 degrees. We have next to it, we have Mercury at 10 degrees, and next to it, we have Mars at 11 degrees. So there's a lot going on here. There's also the midheaven. Now, with all this energy right there in Scorpio, which is saying, clean the pipes, get it out, get rid of it, do it. You know, we're going to go deep. We're going to find the bottom of this iceberg and see what's there, you know.
Get the Roto-Rooter out.
Yep, exactly.
Get out the snake.
Yeah. Yeah, and Scorpio loves to go down and really investigate that deep stuff too. Really loves it, and loves to do that with other people. Welcome back, Cyprian. I was just talking about the stellium in Scorpio. Yeah. And across from that, we have a stellium in Taurus, with the Moon, Jupiter, and Uranus. There's just a lot of energies around there, and they're big and they're obvious, and they want us to acknowledge them. They want us to acknowledge, the energy says, acknowledge me in your own life and in other people's lives too. You're in traffic, they're in the same frequency that you're in. Maybe their charts are interacting a little bit differently, but you're all still in traffic. So just chill, you're still sitting there, all of you on the freeway, or whatever the case may be, like the Maine, you're all in this frequency of fear. Okay, so we're all in this frequency of fear. Now, who's going to wake up and offer a different frequency? Who's going to wake up now that we know and say, I'm going to offer love, and I'm going to offer support, and I'm going to offer safety, security, and compassion to the very first person I see, and just let it flow out of who's going to do that. It's a little scary because we don't know how the emotion, which is a gift that humans get to experience, is emotion. We don't know how these energies are going to flush through us emotionally. And maybe we haven't explored that enough, and maybe that's simply what the event is all about, is to explore the emotionality, because when we understand the emotionality that we get to experience, and how it connects to everything else, and how it supports us, it's telling us something. I learned something a long time ago about anger. We think of anger as that person who comes in and just starts, bullying people, or, well, that's not actually anger. That's a different frequency. Anger is that split second moment when you know something is wrong, when you know something is out of alignment, and it just sends this flush through you. You might turn red or something. And then after that, you're expected to do something with that realization. Anger is that flicking the switch, like flick on the lights in the room. You see that the sofa has been torn up by the cat or whatever. That's the anger. Now, what we do with it after either becomes judgment. It either goes, up or down. So it becomes judgment. It can become, and then judgment has its own spiral into wherever it goes. It can become action. I'm curious when I see people say, "Oh, look at you sitting in all that mess that you made." I walked into my living room, this is many years ago, and that was back in the 90s when flower print was everywhere. We had a flower print sofa. Now, dogs see the flowers and they think garden. Okay, what do they do when they see a garden? They dig. So our little doggie Sydney tore up the pillow, and she was sitting there. Poor thing. She was sitting there in all of this rubble that she was like surprised to see that she had ripped the pillow, because she thought she was digging in a garden. And I had to just come in and leave. And then, so I came in, I saw her sitting there. I was like, "Oh, you poor thing. Well, you're going to sit there for a while because I need to go." So there was no point in getting mad. I left, came back, and she was still sitting in that same place. Like, "Oh God, what do I do?" And it was enlightening for me to realize sometimes people are doing things and they don't know what they're doing. And I can have, here's my other card that I drew, is this observer card, which I thought, this is very interesting, because the observer gives us the opportunity to back up and reassess, which is what any planet in retrograde says: back up and do take a second look, take a second, before you start throwing your opinions around. Maybe look at where you are in relation to them, maybe where they are in relation to you, where I am in relation to the situation. It's very interesting to hear people complaining about that war over there or this situation out there. But like Kasira said, they're not doing anything about it. It's like, well, what is the opportunity here? And so, just back up and look at it. Anyway, I went down a path that kind of went crazy there, but let's see, what else do we have here?
It's okay to go down the rabbit hole on occasion.
Yeah. Cyprian, have you noticed anything in the chart that stands out?
In the transit chart? Yes. When you're talking about the conjunctions and oppositions, Scorpio conjunctions and the Taurus opposition stellium, it really didn't hit home, because like when the Jupiter and Taurus is along conjunct with a moon, it's 6 degrees apart, but it's still about expressing ourselves and releasing on a level that could be uncontrollable, or that really can come out, but more in a positive light. But what I noticed is Pluto in Capricorn, which is squaring the stellium. Pluto is like about the release and going deep, but it's also about giving us what we need through healing and our contributions to what's needed. So a lot of it is inevitably positive and negative, but then when we go through these like negative themes of dealing with our relationships coming up, it's going to be just very, very rewarding, but it also gets us to really set the boundaries where it's needed too.
Set boundaries. Good. Yeah.
Just not just like relationship boundaries, but then environmental boundaries too, and boundaries of staying in when you need to stay in, and making this decision on what feels comfortable with you, like saying, "Oh, I can't go out today," or if I'm not really feeling well, I really got call in sick because I can't perform to my highest level at work, kind of thing. So it's about efficiency and quality, and just valuing ourselves, because Taurus is about values and self-worth, and putting ourselves first and setting boundaries against those with negative expectations towards us too. But then, it doesn't mean, when we set those boundaries, it doesn't mean that we don't love you, I'm not respecting you. But at the same time, it's the other way around, so that it would give the other party more time for reflection themselves, more time to process things with understanding too. Yes, I was at a party last night with a number of metaphysical practitioners and spiritual people, and a lot of it at the end was about worldview discussions and how we see things with our own eyes. And there's a lot of disagreements still and different viewpoints, but someone kind of got upset and just lost it. Like she was having an episode. So there's some kind of scene going on. So things had to be just toned down a bit and neutralized more. So somebody had to step in, and we had to end the night with, what just happened? That's supposed to happen. But then we think about it, though, it happened for a reason. And then we have to make certain hard decisions and endings of saying that, you know what, I love you, but you have to work on yourself. So, I want you to take a break from integrating with a group like us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Aaron was looking at my chart the other night. He goes, you have a love-hate relationship with people. and here's the truth. I always say, I'm a people person. I don't need a stranger, okay? Yet, and I love people, but the other part of me has a really hard time tolerating other human beings.
Yeah.
It's the truth, and I don't hide that about myself. I don't hide it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm the only human being that has that thing going on. I'm not going to call it an issue, but
it's just an aspect.
On the planet, that I have a love-hate relationship with other human beings.
Yeah.
I love it. I just love
Hey,
it.
you know what? It's 5:54. You think we should do some meditation now?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take myself off camera so that you can focus. I can put another screen on, so we just have that. You can stay on camera.
Sure.
That's up to you.
Why don't we put that full moon up, and at the end of the meditation will be ended with, he's going to do his song bowls, and I'm going to chime the bell 3 times at the end, which will notate the end of the meditation.
So
thank you everybody for watching.
So Kasira, I'm going to leave the 2 of you on camera, but you will not be seen. And so you'll know what to do. Everyone, thank you for being here this week. It is Halloween week, so be very safe, have fun, celebrate, and then we'll don't go away after the show is over, and we'll decide when we'll do our next show. Okay,
sounds good. Thank you.
We might want to think about doing a little something around the next lunar eclipse, which is November 7th.
Well, November 7th, just to let you all know, was my grandmother's birthday, and it was my mom and dad's wedding anniversary.
Oh, if that's a Tuesday, we want to do. Let's talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Let's talk about
Maybe
it.
We can
so anyway, I'm going to leave the Aaron. I'm trying to get over to you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Kasira, now, did you want to? Well, if you want, I can go ahead and just start.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Richard.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Start with that bell, and we'll do a quick meditation.
Okay. As always, we begin with the breath, We inhale deeply through our nose and exhale slowly and deliberately, feeling the sensation of the breath. We know that this breath is a gift, and we accept it by inhaling once again, deeply through our nose, slowly, and slowly exhale. As we exhale, we can feel that gratitude that we have this ability and that we can do this right now together. Again, we inhale and we pull in, this time, light and the vibration of our higher selves, which is always with us. But we accept right now that this is entering our system through our breath. And as we inhale and slowly exhale, we acknowledge this. And as we acknowledge the presence of our own higher self, we can acknowledge the presence of our guides, our angels, our supporters, our ancestors, those who have always loved us and always will. And as we inhale, breathe deeply, and exhale, we accept this frequency into our own physical body. While we are here in this wonderful frequency of this divine love that we are experiencing, we hold it in the highest place in our body, above our heads. We hold it right above the crown chakra. And we sit up straight if we can. Continue breathing and just see this beautiful light above our head. If you can't see a light, imagine a giant lotus flower above your head, as big as you can imagine it, and see it opening itself as if to a new day to receive the light of the sun. See it opening, and then it's accepting the beautiful light of the new day, and through its stem that goes down, it enlightens our whole being. And this passes down through our crown chakra, into our third eye chakra, down into our throat. We can feel it just warming, soothing, and healing. It continues down into our chest, into our heart chakra. We can feel this beautiful explosion of divine light in our chest, which then activates the next chakra down, our next energy center in our belly, which is our courage. And we breathe into this as these lights then ignite the next light in our sacral, and then all the chakras that lead us down into the earth. We have more, but in the meantime, we just see these lights illuminated right here and right now. Enjoy this moment. Live in the joy of this moment. Hold the joy of this moment and breathe into it. This is your joy that you are feeling. Remind yourself you have access to this all the time. Remind yourself no one controls this but you. Remind yourself that it is lit by your will, your desire. And right now you can say, I light my own fire. I ignite my own passion. I receive my own joy right here and right now. And we allow ourselves now to use the image of the iceberg to just drift below the surface of the water. Just allow ourselves to go a little deeper and just observe the beauty of this iceberg. It's been kept in the dark, but you can illuminate it with your light. Just see it right now. See the structures. See the ecosystem around it. See how it floats within this environment and its majesty. If you're able to, you can swim around it. If you're willing to, you can see the magical beings that are there with you. This is your world. Explore, appreciate, allow yourself to interact with all of it. You may go deeper if you wish, to the point where you can almost not see the light from the surface of the water. And there you see luminous beings who create their own light. They look like angels underwater, and they dance around for you. They appreciate you. They want to show you what they can do. They want to show you how much they love you. They want you to know that you are treasured and supported. Allow yourselves to be with them. Be with them. And now, if you wish, you may allow yourself to simply float back up to the surface. Relax and release. Release any burden you wish to release, and it will allow you to float up without effort. This is the gift of releasing. You float up to the surface effortlessly. The gifts of the lessons that we've learned are there for us. Those will be taken with us. The burdens are left behind, and they float to the bottom to be recycled. And we float up effortlessly to the surface, where we continue to breathe and relax. Breathe and relax. We know that this world is always available to us. That these beautiful creatures that we've just experienced are always ready to share their secrets with us. We only need to connect. And we connect by relaxing and breathing and allowing. allow ourselves to feel that we're on the surface of this great water that holds these magnificent icebergs, this magnificent treasure. We can feel that within us there is a new dimension of understanding. We have a new relationship with our deepest self. And this has come to the surface with us. A new relationship to the healing that we just received. This has floated up with us. This is now within us. We cannot unsee ourselves as healed. We are healed. We are supported. We're allowed to share this. You're encouraged to share this. And we share this. We simply share this. And now we're noticing that the current is bringing us back home. We float effortlessly on this sea of spiritual enlightenment, and we see that the current naturally takes us to our next experience of life. It naturally does it, and we effortlessly allow it, because the sea of divine waters is always supporting us. It won't let us drown. We float on the surface to our next greatest opportunity, our next delicious interaction, our next cozy cuddled with a loved one. And it happens effortlessly and naturally. We simply allow. Simply allow. I turn it over to you, Kasira.